Hey folks, this is Buck here with Loggers Hydraulics out of Green Cove Springs, Florida. And you may have seen one of these pumps before. This is a John Deere Skidder pump. It's an Oilgear brand. It's off of a 648 G2 G3. It's the AT353936 pump. And a customer sent this in from, I believe he was Alabama or Georgia. But anyways, we took it apart to look at it, and just going to go over it real quick here, show you some things about it. Take a look at the end cap here. You'll see there's quite a bit of wear on it, and we also have some cavitation here. And if you're not familiar with cavitation, that's air bubbles entrapped in the oil, and they explode at immense amount of pressures. And then what happens when they explode is they start eating away at the metal. So that's not looking too good there. We got the pistons here, which the face of the shoes, they look pretty good actually, but you can see here we got a severe amount of wear on the shoe plate, and it's actually kind of concave there. It's really bad. But even though the face of the shoes look good, one of the most common things that happens with these pumps is the piston shoe gets loose on the body. And I've got one here in a vise because I'm by myself here, but you can hear it, how loose it is as I pull on it. And you might be able to see the travel of how loose that head is. And what happens is, after a little bit of time, a little more time, those piston heads will get ripped right off the bodies, and you're going to have a catastrophic mess on the inside. The reason that they get loose is with these Oilgear pumps, they have a very low differential in pressure from the case drain to the inlet. So if your inlet, they only allow 10 psi difference. So if your inlet is a flooded suction, you have zero pressure at the inlet. They only allow 10 psi on the case drain line. And when it exceeds that, it starts putting tension on the piston shoe. And it starts to pull on that and get loose. And then over time, as you run your pump, that differential pressure might even get more as the unit leaks and tries to get through the case drain, tries to get back through the cooler to the reservoir, causing back pressure on there, and puts more of a strain on the piston head. And 90% of the time when we get these pumps in here, and we've been doing these for many years, rebuilding them, selling them as reman exchanges, that is like the #1 issue with them, as well as the control piston and the control itself. And we have the control here, and I don't know if you can see it in there, but the piston is stuck in there. But a lot of times what happens is that wears out, and the control body wears out, and you have a lot of leakage in there, and it gets real hot because that's where your pressure is developed. And so that leakage past the piston spool and the body gets real hot, and you'll feel it on the pump. That control is like super hot, and when we take these apart like this one here, you can smell how burnt it was in the oil. Another issue is they have this very cloudy looking oil, which looks like they might have some water in their reservoir. That wasn't looking good. The cylinder block, which mates up to your end cap there, that is getting a lot of wear on it as well. So that's not looking too good. And another thing that happens, this is the swash block, and when those piston heads start getting loose, you can see the wear. What happens is the pistons will actually come off the face of this swash plate. You can see how it comes off. There's no wear here, severe wear I should say, and then you can see it where it comes back in contact with the swash block and goes around again. They come off and they come down, they come off and they come down. And when it's really bad, you'll see the circles of the piston heads embedded in the swash block face here. But when you get these swash blocks new, or when you could get them new, this actually is how they look. You see the inner surface to it. That's how they look. So even after they ran a while and you have a good rotating group and all that, you're not going to see this kind of wear on it as you would if it was good. You'd see this kind of wear. But being as bad as those pistons are and everything, and how loose they are, they're really slamming and digging into that swash block, picking up and going back down and digging. But you get these circular shapes on here, like a half moon, and on there when they're real bad, when it's just about ready to blow. So it's getting close. So it's a good thing he sent it in. I'm sure he was hearing clicking noises in the machine. That's what happens when those pistons go up and down at a fast rate of speed. You'll really hear it clicking in the machine as it's running. So we'll get with this guy and let him know what's going on. But this is the Oilgear pumps, and it's also been very hard now to get parts for these. They're becoming obsolete, and so we used to rebuild a lot of these and sell them as rebuild exchange or repair them for customers. So we've also come up with a new pump, a replacement pump. We've had to modify it. It's similar to a Rexroth brand, but we've had to modify the inside rotating group, because these were built, these Oilgears, if you can see how stout and strong these cylinder blocks are, and the metal pistons and everything. And so what we've had to do is modify the rotating groups and get a heavy duty rotating group for the pumps to handle the severity of the logging industry and matching up to these Oilgear pumps. So that's the reason they chose these pumps, because of the strength and strong rotating group that they have for the logging industry out in the field, and being out in the elements out there and everything. So what we've come up with was a new replacement pump, pretty much now about the price of a rebuilt exchange. I don't have a pump here to show you, but it comes with a mounting plate for it to match up, so you can hook it up and the orientation of the ports are in the same position of the Oilgear. Comes with the mounting blocks for it to match up to the port sizes and threads of the Oilgear, and also has a new coupling for it because of the plate pushes the pump back a little bit, so we made a longer coupling for it. But it comes all ready to go. It has the mounting kit with it, and just drop it in and hook her up, and you're ready to go. And they've been working great. Great pumps. Seeing the rotating group's been modified and beefed up, where the originals just wouldn't last due to the conditions in the logging industry out there in the field. So hope you enjoyed the video. You got Oilgear skidder pumps. We deal a lot with a 548, 648, 748s, G's, G2s, G3s, E's. So give us a call. We're down here in Green Coast, Florida. Logging Hydraulics. It's a division of Hydraulic Pneumatic Services. And you can reach us at 904-688-2247. All right, thanks a lot.